This week in gaming, a congressman takes on the gaming industry. Xbox has a preview event, and the Game Award nominees were announced. This is the NerdCave News, and I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by my good friend and co-host, Derek Daniel. Derek, how's it going?
Man, it's going pretty good. I'm a little on the tired side. Got to get up for work early in the morning, but I am doing well and glad to be here. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing better than I was last week.
Okay.
I'm excited to be here, excited to get to talk about games. Xbox, partner preview today. Yesterday was the Game Awards nominations got announced and everything, and I can't wait for December 11th to see who wins what. We always have our watch along, so I'm very, very excited about that. Amy says, I see a Sasuke shirt.
You know.
Derek is tired, y'all. He's the tomfoolery shall begin, though. The tomfoolery shall begin. So let's jump into one of my favorite segments of each week, and that is what you playing. Derek, have you been able to play any since the last week?
A little bit, not as much as I wanted to, but I did play a little bit. I did play like the next mission that involves doing something with the spider. It's to lure back out the dragon because they're twin brother. Well, not twin brothers, but they're brothers. You infiltrate this area that's putting on a play. It's called the Night of the Burning Tree, which is reliving the night that they attacked Atsu. And that's deliberate. That's because by that point they know that Atsu is there. So this stuff happens. I learned a new ability. I'm not going to say anything more on that. You do learn a new ability. And then I decided to just kind of do clean up some housekeeping. So I decided to find I'd already found all the hot springs, already found all the wolf dens, all that stuff. I found all the Ainu, lost Ainu items. I did find a bunch of vanity items. What was it? I've just been doing some collectathoning for a little bit before I go back to the main story, because I've done pretty much the only thing I haven't really found a lot of is the Suma E paintings. But apparently there's still a few out there in the wild that I'm missing. But other than that, I'm just kind of trying to hold off of beating the story. I don't want to beat it, too quick, Zach, because but to spoil one of the quick hits, New Game Plus is dropping this upcoming Monday. So
that's exciting. I've been playing, but I want to hear what everybody else has been playing as well. Welcome to the Nerd Cave News. Amy says, I've finally been playing Animal Crossing again. It was this weekend. Amy was like, is the Switch dead? And I was like, yeah, it is, but I'll get the charger and everything. So she's been playing Animal Crossing, getting her island back together and everything, because a lot of people are jumping back into Animal Crossing, getting ready for the update, which is coming out in January. So I know a lot of people are really, really excited about that. But for me, I, of course, played Yote on Tuesday. I did get into the Oni's compound, brought Junbei in there, and then tried to take him on. He's got a huge flipping sword, dude. That sword is like 5 people long. But I thought it was cool, finding the jailer and having to use the sake bottles, bottles to hit him and everything. I thought it was pretty dope. But and then going through the compound, I'm glad that I don't know how you did it without this Kurosamagama, whatever it is.
Kusarigama.
There you go, Kurosamagama. I don't know how you did it without that. It was so much easier to be able to get over here and
that's a very valid point, because again, I like how we both of our paths branched. You went to the Kitsune first, I went to the Oni first. So yeah, it was difficult. It was a little bit more challenging. I'm sure if I had the Kusarigama, I would have had a lot easier time. But hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, I was literally playing. I was like, I'm glad I went the way I did, because I have the Kurosamagama is completely leveled up. I have all the skills for it, so it doesn't cost me anything to assassinate with it now, so no spirit or anything. So I'm just like getting people left and right. So I'm enjoying that side of things. Just did a little bit of exploring as well, and just really enjoying Yote as much as I possibly can. And I'm enjoying I know so many games have photo modes now, but
Mhm.
getting to play around with that and like getting the Yuri out, and like that's what was on the thumbnail for this past week is me, using the Yuri and all of this. So just experimenting with that, and I'm just loving it. And then this past weekend, I played more Death Stranding,
Mm.
and I progressed further in the story. I'm in like chapter 8 now. I was like right at the end of chapter 5, and dude,
Mhm.
that game is so flipping good, and it's like heart-wrenching at the same time. Everyone's story, found out more about Sam's past,
Okay.
why he is the way he is, how he like kind of secluded himself and everything, and more about Dead Man, which is Guillermo del Toro's character,
Oh, okay.
and just like all of these little things. And had a run-in with BB's dad, which
Okay.
is Mads Mikkelsen is his father
Oh,
and
yeah, that's
everything.
right.
And dude, just the way this is like paced, and just enjoying like getting more of the story going and everything, but just getting to build stuff. I like building roads, Derek. I like
Yeah.
building roads.
What about, do you like building country roads?
hmm Take me home.
Mhm. To the place.
Where I belong. Well, and like Amy came in here and she was like, "Is that a dead body?" Because I was like taking a dead body somewhere, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Yes."
And what's your point?
And one character, this was really interesting. One character that you get introduced to a lot of people early on in the game, and you're like, okay, but you never see them until later on. This
Mhm.
dude's name is Hartman, and he is alive for 21 minutes and then dies for 3 minutes. Like he goes into cardiac arrest for 3 minutes. And then
That's okay.
and then he has like a defibrillator on, and then it like brings him back for another 21 minutes. But his whole thing is like he's trying to find his wife and child on the beach because they've already died. So he's trying to find them, so that 3 minutes that he's technically dead, he's off on the beach trying to find them and everything. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And he was like, "Yeah, I've died 200 and something thousand times, and then been brought back." And I'm
I was
like,
gonna say dying every 21 minutes does, that does add up after a while.
"Yeah," and I was just like, "Dang, dude." Uh, I was just like, "All right." Amy said, "Playing them freaky games, yeah,
Right.
But it's so good, man. I can't wait to like I'm trucking along now that I actually went and did some story stuff. The story has moved pretty quickly, but I just enjoy like exploring the world and getting like more stuff connected. And yeah, I'm loving both games. And I did play some Vampire Survivors, which got
Okay.
a new game announced at the partner preview card
Mhm.
game. But I played some Vampire Survivors over this past weekend, and actually Monday. I played about 4 or 5 hours, and
Oh,
dude, that
wow.
game is just fun. Like you just do another run, and then you're like, I could do another one. It'll be a few minutes, and
Yeah.
then I'm just there. Like Amy's playing Animal Crossing, and Gilmore Girls is on the TV, and then I'm playing Vampire Survivors on the Steam Deck, and like it got to like 11, 12 at night, dude, and then we were like, I
Wow.
think it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So I'm just enjoying getting some gaming, and I can't wait to play a little bit more over the weekend. But we want to hear what you've been playing. We're going to jump into the gaming discussion for this week. First up, U.S. Congressman takes a stand on AI and video games, and this is by Vicky Blake at IGN.
A member of the US Congress has now called out Activision Blizzard's use of generative AI in Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and demanded tighter regulation to, quote, prevent companies from using AI to eliminate jobs. In a post on Twitter, Californian Congressman has Congressman Ro Khanna slammed the developers' move to AI to quote extract greater profits, writing, "We need regulations that prevent companies from using AI to eliminate jobs to extract greater profits. Artists at these companies need to have a say in how AI is deployed. They should share in the profits, and there should be a tax on mass displacement." In a follow up tweet, Khanna added that there should be tax reforms to discourage excessive automation. Guardrails should be put in place to protect worker input before deployment, not a Luddite complete ban. Adding support unions and workers to bargain for workers benefiting from productivity gains. When a commenter suggested that curbing AI investment could stifle innovation, Khanna said, "Innovation and technological advance is patriotic and good for humanity, provided it serves the people. So we need to think about how it is adopted and how people can still have meaningful work and independence. A tax code that doesn't incentivize excessive automation, working input councils so AI is used for augmentation, rules so workers share in AI productivity gains, a plan to hire young grads who may make less entry jobs or to hire displaced workers, a tax on mass displacement and guardrails against them. All these a provision to ensure a technology revolution benefits ordinary Americans." Last week, Activision acknowledged it used a variety of digital tools, including AI tools, in Black Ops 7 to empower and support our teams to create the best gaming experience possible for our players. Our creative process continues to be led by the talented individuals in our studios. Now, Zach, this all sounds good, and I'm not saying they don't have a point. Like, yes,
Yeah.
there needs to be some rules and regulations, but I'm of two thoughts here. One, and then like the main one I think this is getting at is, I think this is just another way for the government to because when GTA 6 was announced and like all this stuff, and whenever something like big happens, like shootings, like when all those shootings were happening, they're like, "Oh, we blame GTA because they're one of the most violent video games out there, and a lot of kids play it, and it's one of the most popular games." And that's when they were trying to like regulate gaming and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
I feel like this is just going to be like the next step they try to use, or like the next hurdle they try and use to regulate video games and like get in that space and try and like police it and all that kind of what. I don't think that's going to take off anything, but I'm also of the mindset where it sounds good. If I don't know if this congressman's trying to get reelected or whatnot, but it sounds good, but I don't think anything will come of it. Like, I think they're just doing this for word salad to try and get people, to donate money to their campaign funds. But I don't know. Is this a non-story, or do you think that, yes, the message that they're sending is clearly like, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Don't use AI for a supportive tool. Don't use it to replace jobs. That we can agree on. But do you think that any of this will come see the light of day, what they're talking about?
I don't know if it will get pushed any further than it is right now, just a talking point. I do agree with them that AI development is something that is good, and getting more of that is like patriotic and like innovation and all that. Totally agree with that. We shouldn't be stifling that, but there are ramifications when all of these companies are looking for ways to cut their bottom, like their P&L. They're trying to increase profits and cut down on losses. So
Correct.
if they can do that by cutting a number of employee positions, they're going to do that. We've seen Xbox do that. We've seen so many others do that throughout the last few years. And when I look at this, it's like, okay, if there is some incentive for these studios, maybe it's a tax break where, oh, such and such just laid off a bunch of people, EA, whoever it is, Ubisoft.
Right.
And if, let's say, Sony was like, oh, come and work at Sony, and they took in, several displaced game developers, then there's a tax cut for that. I think that is the right way to do it.
Correct.
I don't think I'm definitely for small government. I don't want government oversight on everything. Like, the government already takes a ton as it is, and you can't trust either side. We're seeing that in real time. It doesn't matter who it is, you can't trust them. So my thing is I don't want government to penalize anything. I want them to incentivize. It is better to
Yes,
incentivize than it's better to be ruled by, rule through love than rule by fear. And
correct.
that's what I think you need to say. Hey, if you hire X amount of displaced workers, then you're going to get X amount of tax break. If you allow unions to be able to, because that's a big thing. Like a lot of game developers are trying
Yeah.
to create unions, and then we
Mm-hmm.
have union busting tactics. We talked about that with Rockstar 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago. And it's like, if that is in place where you are protecting the worker, I don't care about the corporation. I
Right.
can, like, they can burn down for all I care, because they're corrupt and all they care about is their money, and people shutting, like literally getting laid off right before Christmas. I know Kroger just laid off a ton of people
Yep.
in their stores and everything. So it's just like, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, they're trying to increase their profit. And if they can do that artificially by cutting out people's positions, they're going to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is just, talk, but we'll see where this goes. But, and you also got to take into account, there's so many developers in California that he is definitely talking to a large constituency.
Correct. So,
Anything you want to add to that, Derek, before we move on?
no, just I agree with you 100% on a lot of the points you made about, making it incentivized, and like, we got to be careful, because again, when in the now, like in the workspace of video games where people are trying to form unions, you got to be careful about how you go about displacing your workers, because if you're doing it out of fear of being a union buster and then covering it under and saying it's like, oh, they leaked company secrets or whatever, and it's like, no, we didn't. you
Yeah.
know so,
Yeah.
and our next story too, that we're going to get into about, Subnautica 2, it's like, that whole debacle about they said type of thing, where it's like, oh, you didn't want to sign the check, well, you didn't live up to your end of the bargain, you know what I mean? So it's just, we got to be more careful than ever, and we got to make sure we put our money where our mouth is, and like supporting those, like, so in case, like, if Rockstar does do something sleazy, it's like, I know people are going to spend oodles of money on GTA 6, but it's like, if you really want to take a stand against them, like, unfair workplace practices and how they treat their workers, whatever they outside of their time, yeah, don't buy their games.
Yeah. Vote with your wallet. And I do think that putting some guardrails on mass layoffs is something that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be done as well. That I think does need to be put in place. Not necessarily like, oh, you can't use AI or whatever, because even with like all these acquisitions that we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
HR teams and all of these other billing and all of that have been laid off as well. They're not just developers that would use AI. So there has to be something in place. And I feel like the FTC really needs to like crack down on
Yes.
acquisitions.
Well, and that too, but also I think, you talking about put a regulation on layoffs, put a regulation on how many layoffs they do in a certain time frame, because again,
Hmm.
spoiling another quick hit, Crystal Dynamics just laid off more people again. Like, yeah, it was only 30, but still they're laying off more people. And after they've laid off so many people over the last 6 months, it's like you got to have a period where, now, yes, that result in like, all right, we can only lay off X amount of people in six, or we can only do one set of layoffs for the next 6 months. Let's just lay off let's go through the entire portfolio and just lay off everybody, everybody that we can.
Yeah.
So there does need to be a regulation on the amount of layoffs you do in a certain time span as well.
Yeah. I think that should be in place for sure. Uh, I don't know if you've seen this before we jump into our next one, Derek. Have you seen what's going on with
Oh,
GameStop?
buddy, let me tell you, I thought, oh, woo, it started what was it, last week or something? I don't know if I sent it to you, Zach, but Funko is not in a good place. You would
Yeah.
think as many people that buy Funko Pops, especially that shell out money for custom made Funko Pops, they would be doing okay. Well, that is not the case. If they are worried about being able to be like still be a business within the next year. They could
Yeah.
go under in less than a year's time frame. So by this time next year, Funko could probably not be a company anymore, which would take a huge hit to GameStop. Like, I can't imagine what the retail space what is now, but I know when I left GameStop, like Funkos were huge. Like they took up like a good section of wall in our store, and that
Mhm.
was pretty much their moneymaker. Um, and that's gonna, and I think when they heard that, they hit the panic button, because now they are doing a trade everything program or thing on December 6th, I want to say, where it's like, yes, there will be some exclusions. Like they specifically, one of the specific thought, because I watched a TikTok of a, I guess they were a manager or whatnot, where they saw where,
He
no
was the one that quit.
surprise, yeah, he's the one that
Okay.
quit.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
in his
Okay.
2 week, yeah, put in his 2 weeks. Where, no surprise, the public found out before they announced to the managers that this was a thing, and then of course they got on the conference call and they were like, they say you can't trade in dead animals, but taxidermy is not out of the question. And I'm like, what is this? What? And they're pretty much like doing like taking a lot. Of course, there's rules and regulations, like you know, that you can't have dead animals, you can't have something that's biohazardy, and or like, and but they're encouraging wearing like having hazmat suits on call just in case. And I'm like, that is wild to think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what, like, how are
And
this
be
is gonna,
ready
like,
to call the cops if needed, if you
right,
feel endangered.
because people are gonna maybe try and pull one over on you and film you while they're bringing in these wild things, because you know human excrement cannot be one of those. And I'm like, people are still gonna try. And you know, I'm thinking, it's like, well, what are they gonna, like, how is this gonna work SKU wise? What are they gonna do? Apparently they're all doing this to fund it to a charity. You know, all the proceeds are gonna
For
go
a
to
tax
charity.
write-off.
Yes, for tax write-offs. Because guess what, if Funko does go under, they have this influx of cash to kind of put them on life support for a while. And I'm like, this is why I'm glad I got out when I did, because otherwise I would be like this, the dude who did it on TikTok and put in my 2 weeks, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, especially right before, like, yes, it's like a couple, like a week or so after, like probably a week after Thanksgiving. Like, after you're doing all this craziness, you have to deal with another wave of craziness right before Christmas. Like, come on, man, like, do better.
Well, and my thing is like, how are you going to like price any of that? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
right.
it's like if they can bring in anything, let's say I brought in
Some
my
old
grandma
shoes.
that's taxidermied.
Yeah. Oh,
You
oh.
know what? Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
it's
How
taxidermied.
how are you gonna put, yeah, right? Like, it's not dead. It's not. It is a dead animal, but technically not a dead animal carcass.
Yeah. So
It has
but
been
it's like
repurposed.
how can you like what you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I might bring in a ukulele that's signed by Samoa Joe. I don't know.
Right.
And it's like, how can someone that's that is a not a pawn shop. This is very pawn shop. It's
Right.
like this is a game store. How are you going to be able to do that? What is the database like? You know,
Right.
is it just like, oh, well, we can go up to X amount of dollars or whatever? Like it doesn't compute with me.
And all the proceeds are going to charity. So what are they going to do with all the items after they're traded
They're going
in?
to throw
Like,
them all. They're going to probably throw them all away.
probably. I hope so, because I mean, it's like, and I can't imagine that, because I can't imagine that back room man. Like, I mean, trying to have all this crap.
It
Oh my god.
it's absolutely insane. So our thoughts go out to all of the unfortunate employees that are working at GameStop. They're going to have a heck of a holiday season this year.
You know, my heart goes out to him. Like, I hope this caused a mass, you know, quitting spree. You know, like, I know we don't talk. I know we just talked about not, you know, laying off people, but you know, we didn't say anything about quitting. Like, if you don't like your work environment, change it. So
Yeah.
I hope a lot of people followed this other manager's lead and decided to quit before it got, you know, way uncomfortable for people.
Well, let's talk about some other corporate greed and shenanigans. Subnautica 2 drama continues, and this is by Vicky Blake at IGN.
So, as the messy breakdown between Crafton and Subnautica 2 dev and subsidiary Unknown Worlds goes to court this week, an explosive new legal filing claims that Krafton CEO discussed a takeover of the studio in Slack messages and allegedly even turned to ChatGPT to, quote, help him brainstorm ways to avoid paying the earnout. Unknown World's entire leadership was fired amid a messy public falling out over a $250 million bonus from parent company Krafton. For months now, most coverage about the sequel has concerned the painful breakdown between Unknown Worlds' founders and Krafton, which acquired Unknown Worlds in October of 2021. Now, in new legal paperwork surfaced by game developer, the founders allege Krafton CEO C.H. Kim and Unknown Worlds' newly appointed CFO Richard Yoon discussed a potential takeover over Slack and allegedly used ChatGPT for ideas on how to get out of paying the bonus and set up a, quote, secret task force to take over the studio. In the lead up to this decision, Krafton CEO C.H. Kim had become frustrated with the contract Krafton signed to acquire Unknown Worlds. From his seat, it had become a bad deal for Krafton, one under which Krafton can only be dragged around, the filing states. Krafton created a secret task force called Project X, whose mandate was simple: either make a deal with the founders on the earnout or execute a takeover of Unknown Worlds. When the founders refused to accede to Krafton's demands, Krafton pulled the trigger. Maria Park, Krafton's global head of corporate development, told Kim that it seems to be highly likely that the earnout will still be paid if the sales goal is achieved regardless of the dismissal with cause, the new filing adds. Kim turned to artificial intelligence to help him brainstorm ways to avoid paying the earnout. ChatGPT likewise advised that it would be difficult to cancel the earnout. The co-founders allege that Krafton refused to produce the ChatGPT conversations, later claiming they no longer exist. The filing also seeks to bolster Unknown Worlds, claims that Subnautica 2 was indeed ready for its planned soft launch, stating that Unknown Worlds playtest data presented to Krafton in May showed that the game met players' expectations. Furthermore, Krafton's own internal expert declared that the planned 2025 release would be best and that firing Ted Gill would result in a multi-year development delay. And Maria Park wrote the game was ready for an August launch. In a statement to press, Krafton said, there is nothing more important to us than ensuring the players get the best possible experience. We are looking forward to highlighting that all of our decisions have been focused on ensuring Subnautica 2 exceeds the high expectations that come from our players. We are forced to make a change when the former leaders showed little interest in the development of Subnautica 2, which has always been our top priority. Now this trial comes down to plaintiffs asking to be restored to jobs they were not doing, said they had no interest in doing, and had previously declined requests that they can't come back and do those jobs. Krafton remains focused on what matters, delivering the best possible game to Subnautica's fans. And I'm going to go ahead and call this. I call bullcrap on their statement. Like, you know, they're devoted to making sure their pockets are fat as possible. And, you know, this feels very similar to, you know, talking about like, oh, well, acquiring Unknown Worlds was not, you know, it's pretty much hurting Krafton. Pretty much is what, you know, Microsoft is kind of going through, where the CEO of Microsoft, not just of Xbox, of Microsoft, is saying like, yeah, that Activision Blizzard purchase is, you know, really hurting our wallets. We need to make sure we get as much money back as possible. We need to make sure every game that comes out, it hits a 30% profit margin, when in the industry is like minimum 18% to 21% at most. Like, let's just go ahead and make, beat the median line here. And I'm just going to go out and say it. The fact that you couldn't come up with weight, like you're a CEO, like I don't know about running a business, Zach. You would know more this about this would be more in your wheelhouse than I would know. But even then, this is, you know, it's a bigger company, so you know it's more people to manage, especially bringing in this other studio. But if you're a CEO and you, even if it is slimy, and you can't come up with a way to, you know, you can't get up, you know. Obviously, Krafton probably doesn't have like a crack, you know, AAA type of lawyer team at their disposal. But, you know, most lawyers for big companies are pretty decent. You know what I mean? They're pretty smart. You mean to tell me you and your lawyer can't figure out how to, you know, create loopholes out of this whole thing about paying it out? You have to result, your intelligence is that low. like lower than room temperature IQ to go to Chat GPT to figure out how to weasel your way out and scam your employees. Like, dude, you need to lose your job immediately. I'm just saying, like, just based off that.
Yeah, when you are relying on Chat GPT to come up with your, slimy way out, that says a lot of your creativity.
Correct.
And depending on when he did that, because this has been going on for like a year or so
Correct.
far.
Yeah.
Like that would have been like ChatGPT 4, which wasn't like, it was good, but it wasn't like super intelligent. So it's like, I don't know, dude. Like I'm agreeing with you. This feels like a bull crap kind of call here, and it's one of those things. It's like, hopefully there's a jury with this. I don't know, like, if that's part of this. Depends on like where this kind of goes, if they have a jury or not, or whatever. Because some cases don't. So it's like, if I hope that they have to pay not only the 250 million, I hope that they also have to pay for all of their legal bills as well. Like, I hope that this dude and whoever else, the lackeys, Project X, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that they get raked over the coals, because this is abominable behavior. Because that $250 million, yeah, that's a hit, but guess what? Subnautica was an amazing game, and it sold like crazy, and people have been wanting this, and it was ready to go. And then you're like, I want to keep that 250 million for ourselves.
Right. So I don't think this game's ready for launch. Delay it. Let's just kick it down the road. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So I hope not only does the CEO get fired, but anyone else that was involved with this, because that is slimy, and whoever is on the board needs to see that and be like, okay, you've not only caused us to lose money, but we're potentially having to spend that 250 million regardless, and now we're in legal trouble.
Right.
You are not aligning with our goals of padding our wallet. You are actually keeping us from doing that.
That could turn into an extra 50 million. Like that, instead of just paying the 250 million, they could probably pay out 300 million. After all these legal fees and restitution, all that stuff, comes to light, if it does come at the light. And it's just like, you could have avoided all this if you just did your job.
Yeah. If you were just a actual good person. And you could be a good human being right now by hitting the subscribe button to the NerdCave Network, so you don't miss out on any of the awesome stuff that we make here, from our streams on Tuesday to the NerdCave News to Eat, Sleep, Anime, and so much more. We've got a lot of stuff still planned for the rest of the year, from the Game Awards to our final episode of Eat, Sleep, Anime for the year, and so much more. We've got more NerdCave News as well, and course, Ghost of Yote. So make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. And let's jump into our Xbox partner preview from November today, 2025. And this is by Zach Dykes at NerdCave News. So Crowsworn is a Hollow Knight-esque game that has a mix of Bloodborne in there. We have a few. I cherry picked. I've cherry picked over here. And I do want to point out, Derek, remind me, I'm going to score this because I watched the whole thing, but let's check out Crowsworn's trailer.
Okay, already digging it. Definitely feel the Hollow Knight in it.
It's cool looking, dude.
Yeah, it is. I'm digging this. I'm digging the soundtrack.
Oh, that was cool. Like, went inside it.
It's like playing Dr. Alucard.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
Card system.
Oh,
Oh,
I love that. Like the particle effects and just like the art style.
oh. Uh-oh. Okay.
It's so weird seeing the PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch logo
Right.
on these. I'm still getting used to that.
Right.
Looks cool. Like I'm not a Hollow Knight person per se, but
Yeah.
it definitely like it feels more aligned with like Silk Song. This has been in development for a while now. I
Yeah.
went through like Kickstarter and everything. So I think it looks good. And like coming out after Silk Song, I know people are going to be wanting to have something like that. So
For sure.
excited for that. What did you think about it, Eric?
Looks very cool. Like I said, definitely you could see the DNA of Hollow Knight in there. Some different takes, like again, being in the Plague Doctor, it looks like it's like Victorian era esque type deal. So kind of want to know what the story is pertaining to, like what the doctor, like if this is like some type of outbreak or disease that are turning people into these creatures. I don't know. I need more on the story bit, but just from the gameplay perspective, looks very good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like the combination of Hollow Knight and kind of like Bloodborne esque kind of
Mhm.
monsters and all of that. I think people are going to really, really like that. So we got a new trailer for Reanimal, which comes from the Little Nightmares team, and we
Mhm.
got a release date. So let's check out
Cool.
this trailer.
We know from experience what it means to be away from those we love most of all.
Cooperative horror game.
To you living in new surroundings, we send a message of true sympathy. And to think of all the new sights you must be seeing.
Okay. Ew.
And the adventures you must be having.
All right, I'm kind of waiting for
It
the.
is not difficult
Yep, there it is.
for us to picture the sort of life you are all leading. I know you won't forget us.
Nope.
Good night, and good luck to you all.
February 13th. About to say, played some spoopy games the day before Valentine's Day.
Well, getting a date and the demo you can play now and everything, which I
Yeah.
think is pretty dope. Um, it's going to be super spoopy. Andy was talking over it, kind of funny. He's like, he's like, it's a lot. He's like, it is very horror. Like I know a lot of people didn't like Little Nightmares 3, which this team didn't work on 3. They
Right.
worked on 1 and 2, which were the better ones. So I think people are going to be pretty excited and really enjoy this. Derek, does this move the needle for you at all?
Not really, but I do have like this will like I don't know if they mentioned it, and I forget from when it was first unveiled. This might change my mind on it or not. Obviously it says play together, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
Is co-op optional, or is there going to be like a way out, like that studio, like It Takes
Hazelite.
Two, where Hazelight, where you have to play co-op?
No, you can play by yourself, and the other
Okay.
character is AI controlled, so you can
Okay.
do it by yourself. So you're
Okay.
not locked into that. So
I might, but I've not played Little Nightmares 1 or any of the Little Nightmares games,
mhm.
so I might want to try that just to see if I if it'll be in my wheelhouse. But I don't know. That does make me feel better, because like the way they're touting it, it's like, all right, you have to play with somebody. I'm like,
Mhm.
do I?
Yeah, it definitely reminds me more of oh, what was that one?
Inside?
Yes, Inside. That it definitely reminds me more of that than like it
Little
is like
Nightmares.
Little Nightmares and everything, but it definitely has that inside kind of feeling. What's
Correct.
up, Dan? Hope you're doing well tonight, my man. So yeah, like I'm glad that you can play it that way, but for me, it's, you know, I don't really play spoopy games anymore. That's I did play Little Nightmares 1 back in the day. I didn't finish it, but that was still when I was rocking the spoopy games back then.
When
Now,
was Little Nightmares 1 that scary? That from what you remember, or not really?
it wasn't as scary as what Reanimal looks like. It was spooky feeling more than scary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
The next one, though, coming from Zach Dykes at NerdCave News, you know, one of the best games journalists in the industry, was Zoopunk gives some Kena Bridge of Spirits gameplay vibes and comes from the team behind Fist, Forge in the Shadow Torch. So let's check this one out.
Ray ventured into OG's territory alone. You sure you saw this through?
Thinking is your job. Doing is mine.
Feels like Death Stranding.
That spark didn't come easy, Ray.
Yeah, a few bumps along the way.
Okay, all right.
But I got it.
What is that? One of the Infinity Stones?
Gamble with it?
1 for 5.
Maybe.
It's worth a shot.
Think you worried something might go wrong?
Wrong. I'm counting on it.
Poor bike.
Man. Okay. Now we're going to The Witcher? What?
It's mine now. Finish him.
Here we go.
Gameplay.
Like the verticality, the movement, and everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of giving me like Kena and like Jedi.
Yeah.
And the environments look great as well. The character designs.
Sure.
Get back.
Oh, boss fight.
Oof.
Ouch. Ouch.
Oof.
Walk right in himself, huh?
All right, Jabba.
It's all yours now, boss. Good work. Now with this, even the Machine Legion doesn't stand a chance against me.
Yep.
All right, Thanos.
What? Huh?
Here we go.
Okay.
I'm the Papa.
Right on time.
Feels
All right.
very Rocket Raccoon.
Correct.
Miss me?
Okay, so you're getting to control them.
Please do like team combos.
Kind of like Guardians.
Yeah. Okay, that actually looks dope.
Gotta hand it to you this time, Ray.
This feels like Ratchet and Clank now.
If Tron
Yeah.
hadn't planned
Little
ahead
bit.
and sent us back up, you'd be done for.
Mission done? Let me take a
Is
look.
that Ichiku Ramen?
All accounted
Did
for.
you rock ramen?
What's
Yeah, there
next?
you go.
It's time to save. Torch City.
Dude, if this was co-op, oh man, that'd be
Oh,
so
for
fun.
Sure.
Like a 3-person co-op.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
That looks dope.
That was actually longer trailer than what they showed in the showcase today.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got that, but you know, hey, whatever.
Right. So,
Derek,
no,
what did you think though?
I think it was dope. I think that was actually one of the better ones they've shown, like we've seen already tonight. So that one definitely hits all the right notes with me, more so than the other two have. So
Yep.
I might have to check this out. You know, obviously not even a year yet, so it's probably further down the probably be a next year game, but you know, like summer, fall type of thing. But we'll see. But regardless, when it comes out, I'm gonna try and look into it.
Yeah, it definitely gives me that like AA kind of game, you know, like with like Kana, like it definitely had its own style and everything, but having like some of that plus like some Ratchet and Clank and all of that, like I'm there. I want to see more of it, and for it being the first time we saw the game, I thought it was a great way to show it off. That's Sandy doing karate. Yeah. Dan says the gameplay seems a little lacking to me. And I think I saw that come in before we saw like the other two characters and everything. Do you think that it's going to be like a switching of characters, or do you think it's going to be like this mission you're the rabbit, this mission you're the rhino, this mission you're the squirrel? Do you think that's going to be more of the gameplay loop?
I feel like it'll be a mix of both. Like I feel like there'll be certain missions where you'll have to play as certain characters, but like, you know, like you'll play as the rabbit, like as we saw, and then when the other characters come in, then they may give you the option to switch between the three. So we'll see. I mean, I feel like it'll be a mix of both, but if I had gun to my head, if I had to choose, I feel like it'd be one of those swap to either, you know, any of the three characters at any time.
Yeah. Can't wait for more. We have one last trailer, and then I'm going to give my review of the partner preview. Tides of Annihilation shows a stellar gameplay trailer that left me very intrigued and can't wait to get a date. So let's check out Tides of Annihilation. And this is all in game.
Okay.
We thought all his knights were dead. Yet
Dark
Lamorak
Souls?
sends one more. I almost admire him.
Tyranno! But you're one of the White King's sorceresses. You destroyed the White Lands.
That destruction is in fact salvation.
Oh
You're
boy.
insane!
A fanatic. Great.
You know not of what you speak. Accept your defeat.
Oh boy.
Very Final Fantasy 16.
For sure.
Lamorak! She's created another folded realm. I can't reach her.
We cannot cross two folded realms, but this spear can.
Okay.
Dude, this looks so cool.
Take the spear.
Man.
She's human again.
And it's like you control your character, but you also get to use the power of the other characters that's getting shown.
Right.
Like the big dude with the spear. And you can switch powers as well.
Huh.
Like being able to, oh, dude, it looks so good.
Even with your new
Oh boy.
end this. Here.
Enemy of my enemy, I lend you my strength.
We fight
Okay.
as one.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
We're gonna go
and
kaiju now.
she just like got a boost. Oh, and it's like, oh, that's super dope. Because he's attacking, then she's still able to attack as well.
Right.
You will not escape justice. Justice. There is only the king's will.
Dude.
Great.
Go to hell!
Okay.
So we're like back in a different dimension as well.
Ramp the spear.
Oh, that is beautiful.
The lighting, Zach.
The light, dude, and like going in between the dimensions and the ripples. Oh my God, beautiful.
You choose the comfort of lies.
And your dude is fighting her in the other dimension too.
Right.
Oh.
Loyalty without inquiry is in itself a betrayal.
What in the world?
Okay. All right.
This
What
is
is
the Madara. That is some Madara stuff right there.
I'll say get out of range. Avoid the second meeting.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and like slowing down the time, it looks like, or I don't even know what that is, but it looks
Yeah, I
cool.
don't know what's. I'm so confused, but so intrigued at the same time.
Dude. That's it right there, dude.
Yeah.
That
for
excites
sure.
me.
That's
Man.
dope.
So just for the people that don't know, the main character is Gwendolyn, and this is based off like the Arthurian legends and everything. And each character that you get, like the guy that was like fighting with her, all of them are knights from the Knights of the Round Table. So you're getting like all of their different powers. So each one of them will have something different that they're able to do and lend their strength to you. Derek, what did you think about this?
Super dope. Like so much craziness happening on screen that I didn't understand, but also was so intrigued at the same time. So it's definitely, this definitely feels like, I feel like when that comes out, whenever it does, it'll be like the next Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It'll just be one of those like AA, like sub AAA hits that is just going to like take over the world. But when it comes out, especially if it's the only big game coming out around that time. So really dope. I'm intrigued to learn more. Intrigued to see more, but not too much more, because I feel like this was the best vertical slice that we've gotten of it. I feel like combat-wise, I've seen enough of it. Give me more of what story-wise is happening.
Yeah, I'm down for a little bit more story just to give us a little bit more base of what is happening, like where are we going, where are we from, that sort of deal. But gameplay, I've seen enough. I'm good to go, just like you are, Derek, because this looks amazing. The gameplay looks very, like I said, Final Fantasy 16, that flowy, very like movement oriented gameplay. You're not heavy. You're just pop, 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 jumping around all of this. And I'm sure each boss will have some sort of different thing to it. But man, I am super excited. And this makes me actually want to play Final Fantasy 16 before this comes out, just so I can wet my palate a little bit. But and Amy says, I love anything Arthurian legends. And I think that is going to make this game really, really cool. Like having that already kind of shared understanding of some of the world, but being able to tell a little bit different of a story, and it being Gwendolyn instead of Arthur, I think is going to be cool, because we always get Arthur in some sort of thing, or Merlin, but having Gwendolyn, is going to be pretty dope. So I'm excited for Tides. The whole time I was waiting for this, but this showcase, Derek, this partner preview was a little bit disappointing. I'm gonna tell you that.
I kind of feel that.
Yeah, and the thing that got me is they touted that they were going to show off James Bond, that Reanimal was going to be there, that Tides of Annihilation, but they really like anchored it on 007. The only thing that we got from James Bond, Derek, was so disappointing. And this being the second, like, really like outing of what James Bond is going to be after the first time was pretty lackluster.
Great.
It was just announcing that the Aston Martin was going to be part of the game. And
really?
Showed the Aston Martin, and that was about it.
Great.
And Greg was like, is that all we're getting? That can't be it. Like, it was such a shocking moment, and it was like, I feel like I'm being bamboozled. I felt like I got lied to, and it was just weird. And yeah, what were you going to say, Derek?
I was going to say that feels like people were lured under false pretenses to watch the showcase. You know what I mean? They were like, depending on what side of the coin you were on when you first saw the gameplay, and like the first trailer for 007 was like, maybe I want to see more. Like, I'm excited to see more. And then it's just like, you get this and it's like, man, this it?
Yeah.
and then it's like, it's sort of like Xbox had, obviously Tides of Annihilation and Reanimal were big, but it feels like Xbox wasn't confident in their partner program to just do it like based off of those two games. And like, can we just get something 007 and just like, but BuzzFeed it real quick?
Dude, it was super disappointing in that regards, because it was like out of nowhere. And then we did see from IO Interactive a new Hitman contract. You're taking on Slim Shady.
What?
Yeah, Slim Shady is the target, and Eminem, like that version of him, what is now, is going and working with Agent 47 and all of that. That we got more of that than we did of 007. And I'm like, okay, if you're really wanting us to be intrigued and ready for this game, you need to show more. Like, it felt like a slap in the face. I know we've got Game Awards, which we're about to jump into some nominations and everything, discuss that. We are getting Game Awards in, less than a month. So I'm sure we'll see something there, but just saying, like, they should have not used it in the marketing materials that it was going to be there.
Correct. And especially if it was just going to be showing the Aston Martin, the more it feels like, it's like IO Interactive, especially you telling that, we got a new contract for Hitman and World of Assassination. It feels like they are being overprotective and safeguarding 007 because it's such a protected IP and name, and like, based off of movie legacy and whatnot. Like, I know movie wise, it really hasn't done much, since, back in its glory days, but it feels like they're still being like overprotective of this. And it's like, we can't show too much, but right now, because we don't want people to get the wrong idea or ruin the franchise. Because they were trying to be big advocates of trying to get you show that we can do this. We can make a 007 game, in modern day gaming and whatnot, and like the way we want to. We're the people of Hitman. We can be creative, and it's sort of like they're overprotecting. It's like, all right, we don't want to show too much. We don't want to give people too much to be negative about. And it's like, they're going to be negative regardless. Like, they're going to be negative. Like, how many people were negative over this reveal? Like, just saying.
Yeah, it was disappointing. There were a few other games that were interesting in there. They just didn't really speak to me.
Right.
And then like they ended with this game called Raji. It was like the second game in this franchise or whatever. Right after Tides of Annihilation, they ended with Raji as the end of the show, and it was just like, it felt really weird. I was like, your pacing is like totally off here. So for me, there were some cool moments in there, but it felt like it dragged for a while, because it was a pretty decent like 40 minutes of show or whatever, 30-40 minutes. For me, this is like a 5 out of 10. Like, this was
Tides of Annihilation and Reanimal is what saved it.
Yeah, and that Zoo Punk game, like it was,
yeah,
like that. Yeah, this could have been a blog post. This could have been a few trailers got dropped or something like that. It did not need to be a partner preview because they've had partner previews that are way better.
Or those 3 games that we just mentioned could have just been saved for Game Awards.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
saying.
yeah. Yeah. And it was interesting, like Zoopunk and Tides of Annihilation. I don't know if they're made in different languages. I think Tides of Annihilation is actually a Japanese game. But like
yes.
the mouth flaps and the words didn't go together on either one of those.
Correct.
And that might have been the trailers or whatever, but it just kind of felt a little janky on
Yeah.
all of that. So, but that was my thoughts on the Game Awards, and I'm glad we got to watch some of the trailers. The Xbox partner preview. Now it's time for the Game Awards, and this is the Game Awards nominees have been announced, and this is from Marcus Stewart. Well, it's not actually because I didn't put anything from Marcus in this.
Yeah.
Do you want to go from the bottom up, Derek?
Yes.
Okay, so first up is Best Action Adventure Game.
So, of course, we got Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hollow Knight, Silksong, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which, that came out almost a year ago now, and then Split Fiction. So,
I was
feel like
surprised.
I feel like that's a solid list, but also I think you're about to say surprised Indiana Jones got on here.
Yeah, which I'm glad that it did. And I know a lot of people kind of ragged on it here and there, but I thought the game was good overall. And for it to make there's 2 nominations that he got on here, this one and then Troy Baker's performance, which he definitely deserves to be nominated for his performance of Indy. Usually anything that comes out in December never gets on these lists because people just forget about it. They forget that it's part of the cutoff and everything. So for me, I think it's going to probably be Death Stranding or Ghost of Yotei on this because Hollow Knight is on several other parts of this. And I feel like Split Fiction, it did do well, but it's still not It Takes Two. But who do you think is going to win this one?
I wouldn't be surprised if Hollow Knight did win this, obviously, just because of the hype around it for so long, and it came out and it actually, stuck the landing. But I would want Ghost of Yotei to win this. We'll get to later down the road why. Like, I'm not as upset about what it didn't get nominated for, but we'll get to that later here in just a minute.
So, Best Action Game, we have Battlefield 6, Doom of the Dark Ages, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
And, it's always weird seeing Best Action Game than Best Action Adventure Game. It's sort of like, all right, just kind of meld them together at this point. But I feel like I have a sneaking suspicion, because Ninja Gaiden 4 didn't come out to it feels like it came and went. Like, we were hyped for it for so long. It came out, people buzzed about it, but now it's like you don't feel like anyone's talking about it since then. I have a sneaking suspicion Hades 2 will win. But I would love for Doom of the Dark Ages to win just because I know it's a resurgence for Doom. I know 2016 Doom was, it was all right. It brought Doom back, but it didn't really, have a long tail. And then what was the sequel? It was Doom. Oh
Eternal.
My God. Eternal. Thank you. That came out and it was better. But it still didn't feel like it held like that Doom mantle. I feel like Dark Ages, and you can attest to this, Zach, that Dark Ages really held that mantle for Doom again, and it put a new fresh coat of paint on for the Doom franchise. So, but also I wouldn't be surprised if Battlefield 6 won as well, just because that one has stuck the landing, brought Battlefield as a franchise back up as well.
Yeah, I feel like Hades 2, because it is the sequel to a Game of the Year winner and everything, that it does have a leg up in this category. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, not a lot of people talk about. So I don't think that one's going to win. Again, Ninja Gaiden 4, I agree with you there. The first 3 I feel like are more contenders. I feel like because Hades 2 and the franchise itself is more an indie darling, it will probably get the nod here. I personally hope that Doom the Dark Ages will get it, because I feel like the action, the pacing, everything that was in that game was just fantastic. The weapons that you get, the kind of reimagining of things, and even further on, having new enemies, having different things still being introduced later game kept making it feel fresh and energetic, and you just get in these flows that a lot of games you rarely get into, and I think it did really well, but only time will tell. I think Battlefield 6 did bring a lot of great stuff into the franchise, especially after 2042. So I feel like that one is going to be very competitive.
Correct. I agree.
So to best debut indie game, and I did take this from the article, Megabonk was removed from best debut indie category following the voluntary withdrawal by the developer Vedland.
Vedland.
Yeah, whatever. It's super small. You can read more about that story on IGN. The list of nominees have been updated accordingly, which is what, Derek?
Blueprints, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Despelote, and Dispatch. And that's, it's for best debut indie, I feel like is a strong list. Obviously Dispatch and Blueprints, you can make a case for either one of those. I didn't see anything on Despelote, but let's be fair, just because it's been nominated for so many things, I feel like it will pretty much take, the trophy case home essentially for a lot of things. But I think Expedition 33 will win this.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's like the thought of, do we it's going to win game of the year? Do we give it to somebody else? Or because it's such a great game, it should win every category that it's in? It's always kind of that toss up, because we've seen it kind of play both ways in years past, where the game of the year might not win best game direction or vice versa and all of these kind of things. So debut indie, I think Expedition 33 just hit so hard that I do think it takes it on that one. So let's go to the next one. This is best independent game, and again, best debut indie. That is the first game that an independent developer put out. But best independent game is Absalom, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong.
And, while again, Blueprints, you can, carry the torch for to an extent, those last three, like the heavy hitters, because all three of those are also, like, spoiler alert, like game of the year contenders. And man, you want to talk about hard to pick. Like, I feel like out of those three, I have to say, like, maybe I'm of the wrong mindset. Hades 2 is like the odd man out between those two. I feel like it's going to be the newcomer Expedition 33, and like the one you've been waiting for in Hollow Knight Silksong is going to battle it out for that category. Which one will win? I don't know. Like, I don't even know if I could say gun to my head type of thing, because I feel like, again, like we were just talking about, Expedition 33 might just take it home because it's nominated for so many things. At the same time, people have been waiting years and years and years for Hollow Knight Silksong. It was becoming Half-Life 3 at this point, and when they came out, it stuck the freaking landing. So either one would be the right pick, but I feel like out of those three, Hades 2 is the odd man out.
Yeah, I agree. And it's that, do you want to go with the thing that surprised you? Or do you want to go with the thing that you waited for and it was actually satisfying? That's the kind of toss up here. And again, do you give everything that Clair Obscur is nominated for, or Hollow Knight that's nominated for? Or do you kind of balance it out because one gets the big and one doesn't?
It's like that classic line from Godzilla, let them fight.
So let's talk about best performances. Who were nominated, Derek?
So we got Ben Starr as Verso in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Also Charlie Cox as Gustav in Expedition 33. We also have Jennifer English as Mael, however you pronounce. I'm sorry, I'm butchering the name. Mael, Expedition 33. Erika Ishii as Atsu in Ghost of Yote. Konatsu Katsu as Shimizu Hinako in Silent Hill F. And Troy Baker as Indiana Jones in the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
So for me, I've played all of them but Silent Hill, but I did watch Roger and Mike play it on Kind of Funny. All of these are great performances. Like, even Charlie Cox, he's like, I went in and like recorded for 4 hours. He's like, he's like, I didn't really,
Mhm.
he's like, I gave it what I thought, but he's not like, oh my God, this is like, I poured everything into this.
Mhm.
For me, I feel like one of the Claire Obscures will probably win.
Correct.
Troy Baker should have been nominated for Higgs, though, for Death Stranding.
Good point. Very
So
good point. I feel like they just needed to give Indiana Jones another nominations
true.
Just because it was a good game that came out, way past the cutoff point, but still,
Yeah.
I fully agree with that sentiment. And again, I do agree that one of the Expedition 33 nominees will win. I want it to be Ben Starr because I don't think he's won an award yet.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think he has.
Like nothing, no shade to the other two, but I do want Ben Starr just because he's such like a big voice actor in the video game industry now at this point that he deserves that validation. But I also want Troy Baker to win because he's been doing it. He's like Nolan North, been doing it for so long, done so many things. And again, that reveal trailer that we got, like we were both like yes, once you listen to more, like you could hear Troy's voice, but it was just like that first initial, like, oh, that sounds exactly like Harrison Ford. Like I feel like he embodied it so well that I feel like he deserves to win that category.
Yeah, I agree. His Harrison Ford, his Indiana Jones is so spot on, and I think that it would be a crime against humanity. But I also think that Erika Ishii
Mhm.
did an amazing job as Atsu. This is a
Correct.
very, very tough category again,
It is.
because this year has just been amazing. I feel like
Yes.
this has probably been one of the best years in gaming in a very, very long time. So let's go to best score and music. We've got Christopher Larkin for Hollow Knight Silksong, Darren Korb for Hades 2, Lorian Testard for Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Toma Ottawa for Ghosts of Yote, and Woodkid and Ludwig Forsell for Death Stranding 2 on the Beach.
So again, another strong, set of nominees here, and you could make a case for any of them. The dark horse here is Death Stranding 2. I feel like just because it the soundtrack for both the first and the second game are just so eerily just unique that it deserves to just kind of win its own category. Again, do I feel like Expedition 33 will win this or Silksong? Probably. But I feel like to be fair, I'm gonna make my case. It needs to be Ghost of Yote just because of like that opening, just like the samisen, use of that, just like the use of just the soundtrack and like the different variations that they have, like of just like the themes and all that. I just feel like that should do it just because of the uniqueness and just I feel like that is one of like the most unique standouts or differences between Tsushima and Yote. Is just like I think they
Yeah.
just did the soundtrack so differently and with a different mindset for Yote than they did with Tsushima. So I feel like Yote, if I had to make a stand that Yote needs to win X, award, I feel like this should be its strongest case.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't think it will win.
Right. I
Um,
don't think it will either,
but I do like the way you're going with this because music plays such a vital part of the game because you have the different songs. Like, we had the flute in Tsushima that would change the weather and all of this, but her mother taught her the shamisen, and
right.
that we use it to get to wolf dens or find this, that, and the other, and you're learning these songs, and like it's such a connected thing. And then you've got the history of why her playing the shamisen in that point in time is actually a huge thing for her character, and how that actually brought together her and the former person. Like there's so many story moments, and even like music, like her mom wanting her to sing with her, like so many good parts of that. So, and I do love the music that's written in there, Derek.
Right. And I was gonna say, and let's be honest now, yes, obviously this was the Tsushima was 5 years prior, but and that's before people really like took off with like the TikTok edits and whatnot. But let's also be fair. Like you really can't aura farm playing the flute as you can with playing the shamisen. As some people do in TikToks. You know what I mean? They walk up on a patrol hunting for you, and you're just like doom 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 doom.
What I love, Derek, I don't know if you've unlocked this or not, but I will come to like to a base or whatever, and I'll play the wolf song, and he's like, I'm like, let's do this.
Roll up.
I think Claire will get this just because the soundtrack is so loved.
Correct.
So that's what I think will get it. But here's hoping.
Yeah.
Best art direction.
So we got Claire Obscura Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silk Song. Now, it may sound like I'm a little bit petty, but I feel like a lot of these other games, like when you see clips and whatnot, they use a lot of the same color palette, and you can make a case for Yotei. But again, Sucker Punch knows how to do, like, in between this duology of games, knows how to play to the color palette so well, and I feel like they just amplified it. Like it wasn't like times 10, but it was like amplified enough to where it was subtle. You noticed it, but it was still like you were just captivated by the beauty, like the different color schemes, the different flowers and whatnot. I feel like Yotei needs to win this, because again, like Expedition 33, you see a lot of the same color palette. Hey, Silk Song, a lot of the drab, cave colors and whatnot. And Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, a lot of like dark, like it probably uses a little bit more color, but again, like a lot of grays, a lot of like dark colors and whatnot. So it's just like Yotei just pops a little bit more. They use a lot of the variation of the rainbow, as if you could say. So again, do I think it'll win? Probably not. They'll go with the hot hand, whatever's racking up the awards at this point. But I do think Yotei deserves to win this as well.
I'm gonna poke some holes in that. Hades 2 actually has more colors than Yotei would. It's very vibrant. Hades 2.
Oh, okay.
It's very vibrant. I think, other than like, I'm not even going to consider colors, just as I'm going to consider like design, the art direction of it, not just that, because Hades 2, Ghost of Yotei, and Death Stranding are all sequels. So they already kind of have what their direction is going to be. Yes, they are beautiful games. I love how Yotei looks, and just the way that they have used colors and the way that they have got the designs of the different characters, the outfits that people wear, the outfits that you get, your armor sets and all of that. And the different, like in the first game, I didn't really care about like the sheaths and all my weapons, like the different stuff. I love that about Ghost of Yotei. Way more customization on that. I feel like Hollow Knight will probably win this just because of the designs that they have in the game, the cute little characters that are throughout the game that you meet and interact with. I think Hollow Knight and Claire Obscura are the leg up on this one, because the time that I spent with Claire Obscura, the direction that they have, like you've got all of these very different characters that you can play with. You've got some with like robotic arms. You've got some that float around. Like it's a beautiful, gorgeous game. And then you've got like these weird little they look like paintbrushes. And then some of them are big, some are tall. Like there's all these things. And then you've got like the different creatures that are in the world. Like it is a very beautiful world, and it just feels otherworldly the whole time. And then you've got like these horrific scenes of like tons of bodies. Like there's a lot going on there. Do I want Ghost to win? Of course I do. I love Ghost. It's just
and
hard.
We Sony ponies.
Exactly. But I do feel like Hollow Knight and Claire are going to be probably the ones higher up on that. Best narrative, Claire Obscura, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghosts of Yotei, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Silent Hill F are our nominees.
So a dark horse pick. Well, let me just say, I feel like Expedition 33 or Death Stranding 2 On the Beach could, go that route, just because the story in Death Stranding 2, I feel like just made leaps and bounds compared to the first one. But a dark horse, I will say, is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, just because it just made, like, it came out earlier in the year and just made waves for what you could do, like just like the overall enhancements they made from the first one. I feel like this would be one of its stronger, categories to win it. But I feel like, again, one of those other two I just mentioned will probably win it. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 swooped in and just be like, yeah, mine.
Yeah, I've played a few hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Very good story, very interesting. Like you're put in this world where you're not the hero necessarily. You're just trying to survive and get through all of these crazy things that are going on. And again, we both love Ghost, but Ghost is a revenge tale. I don't think it's going to win here.
No.
Death Stranding 2, I think I haven't played it yet, but from what I've seen, does have a very interesting story. Silent Hill F, though, I think this might be one of the places that it could get because
Fair.
of the way that they have told the story, the themes that are in that with the different ways that women were viewed in that time, because this is like around World War II and everything. So there's a lot of things going on there, the relationships between people, all of these, like these, it's just very, very interesting. So I feel like that. But again, I think it's going to be Clair Obscur. I feel like this is going to be our, Baldur's Gate or Elden Ring for this year is going to be that. So next category, Derek.
Best game direction, which is, of course, surprise, surprise, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. And I'm kind of, it's interesting that Split Fiction is nominated for this. But again, it's just because of like the uniqueness of where they went with this and how they structured the story and the game itself. Again, I think Expedition 33 will win this, but I wouldn't be surprised just because of how much of an improvement it was over the first game, or either one of these over the first game would be Death Stranding 2 or Hades 2. But I feel like Death Stranding 2 may have a stronger case than Hades 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we might get some Kojima attacks here.
Yeah.
And you get Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, just because it's such a shift from the first game where you're doing all this connecting the world and everything, and the second game being more of, should we all be this connected and all of that. So I feel like it might. I'm hoping we get some other people than Clair Obscur. Like, again, we love Ghost of Yotei. I don't think this is the category that they win on. And Hades 2, I know a lot of people love, but I haven't heard that it's like a huge difference from Hades 1. So
fair.
Game of the year. And of course, we're getting 6 games in here, and a lot of these are great games. All of these are great games. And I've played a good amount of these this year, thankfully, but one is missing that I would have put on there. But the game of the year nominees are Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Which good on, some of these we expected. Like, of course, Expedition 33, as came out earlier in the year, took the world by storm. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach. You can kind of say, you nitpick on Jeff. It's like, oh, it's the Kojima love. I'm like, all right, whatever. It still was a good game. It came out middle of the year when nothing else was out, and it, did its thing. Donkey Kong Bonanza is pretty much the Switch 2 game, of the year. So rightfully so. Hades 2, of course, just like Hollow Knight Silksong, games that people have been waiting for, clamoring for, and they both came out. They both, hit both out of the park. But good for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 to be nominated for this. Like, after, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, I remember when that came out, like, being so intriguing. Like, I know, like the attack point wheel, like when the first one was so intricate that it kind of was overwhelming and kind of over, probably a little bit too much, but it did its thing. It was a solid mid-tier game, like a solid 7 out of 10 game. And then for the second one to come out, like, you're thinking, okay, it'll do the same thing, but then it just completely blew expectations out of the water. So good for it. We're coming out in like early February.
Yep. Like
pretty much like I think the earliest release on this list, if I'm not mistaken, and being nominated. Because normally when you get to this part, like it's not as bad as like the Golden Globes or like the Emmys, where like a lot of like the best stuff comes out close to this, so it's like recency bias.
Yep.
Good for them for like it's come at this when the Game Awards airs. It'll been 10 months since the game came out, and people still are people hadn't forgotten. This was a banger game, so good on for them. Obviously, again, I feel like you said, you took the words out of my mouth. This is like the Baldur's Gate year where it'll just run away, pull like laps ahead. It's almost like lapping everyone else. I feel like Expedition 33 will win. I wouldn't be surprised, just because Nintendo didn't feel like Nintendo got a lot of nominations this year, if Bonanza won, like as a dark horse.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. Like, Bonanza is very, very loved. Nintendo did get a few more nominations in the family game side of things. It wasn't just, Nintendo games, but I think Bonanza has a really good chance here, but I do feel like Clair Obscura is the one to beat out of all of them. My rankings would be Clair Obscura, then Donkey Kong, and who might win, and then Hollow Knight.
For sure.
Kingdom Come, Death Stranding, Hades 2. That's my kind of like
wow. Okay. That's the year in gaming when Hades 2 is the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I like the only one I haven't played on this list. Well, two. I haven't played Death Stranding 2, and I haven't played Hades 2.
Yeah.
So I've played every other one on now. When I say play, I haven't played a ton of all of them. But I've put some time into some of them more than others. But dude, this has been an amazing game, amazing year for gaming, and I think that whoever wins, it's rightfully deserved.
For sure.
I was kind of surprised that Yote didn't get on there, but I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just more the same," and I'm
right.
like,
well, and that's like, okay, and I was kind of surprised too. But thinking about it is, did it really up the ante from what Tsushima did? You know what I mean? Like, yes, we both love it. It's a solid story. We love Atsu's tale. Now, had it been a sequel to Jin Sakai's story, how would that play out? Like, how would we feel about it? We'll never know. But I do feel like, because you look at Ragnarok, right? It didn't just improve the gameplay. It improved the storytelling, the details, like the added, like just the little added things here and there. And yes, there were some quality of life improvements from Tsushima to Yote, but story improvement wise, I feel like it was beat for beat. It was, I'm not going to say it's repetitive, but it felt very similar, to Jin's story, like in terms of like growth, you know what I mean? Like, you're just going like, but again, like we talked about in our initial playthrough, Atsu feels like a jack of all trades, but master of none when it comes to the weapons. And I feel like that, kind of hurt it a little bit in terms of like character growth, like the ability, like, yeah, she's learning all these different techniques, like with the Yari, the Kusarigama, the Odachi, but it's like, what are you like? Because Jin, the sword, and like, of course, the ghost visage, and it's like, yes, the Onryo, we know that, but it's like, what is her signature style, so to speak? I feel like that hurt, in terms of that kind of storytelling. So again, whereas God of War, like, leaps and bounds just took what the story did and just massively improved on how they told it, what they told and whatnot, and like what the story they portrayed. I feel like Yote didn't hit that same kind of mark. And it's not like, so like we talked about it last week, Horizon Forbidden West did massive improvements on the gameplay side, but the storytelling was great except for the ending. And I feel like that hurt it. A lot of it's, not, even though I think it was still in the nominees, I feel like people remember that and we're like, all right, does Yote deserve to have that same, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree. And looking at this list, Clair Obscura, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong, that is half of this list is from indie developers,
which is crazy.
Yeah, and Kingdom Come Deliverance, like Warhorse Studios, got bought by is it Embracer? Let me look one more. Yeah, Embracer Group in 2019. So they were indie, but now they're not. So half of this list is indie developers. I know last year we had Balatro, and we had Astrobot win last year, Game of the Year. And I'm curious if we see another platformer, which is more like, Donkey Kong, get
Yeah.
that. Which is Hollow Knight technically a platformer?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So
crazy times. Dan said I had to laugh at a bit of dialogue in Death Stranding 2 from Dollman, where he did a shameless plug for Kojima Productions. You never heard of Kojima Productions?
that is great.
I love it. So, Derek, a lot of great stuff. We will be live December 11th watching the Game Awards. We'll be reacting to it. It's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it. Make sure to put that on your calendars. Last but not least, of course, is the Patreon Quick Hits. The Patreon Quick Hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. So make sure to go over to patreon.com/nerdcave to get your very own NerdCave membership to help us continue to make awesome shows just like this one. Make sure to find a tier that works with your budget. If it's $5, if it's $1,000, if it's the free, that's totally fine. Go over there, support us. It helps us out. It helps people find more and more of that, and it helps us be able to support this 1.5 person business.
Yeah,
we got to feed the families, y'all. We got to feed the families. So make sure to go over to patreon.com/nerdcave and pick a tier that fits best for you. Now for the Patreon Quick Hits.
Starting off, Sony says PS5 has yet to receive the game that would become its biggest seller, and it isn't going to say which one it is. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has sold 4 million units worldwide. Good for it. Some more Horizon news. NCSoft's Horizon MMORPG is not on PlayStation 5, as we discussed last week, but Guerrilla Games assures fans it's working on more projects. Speaking of, Guerrilla Games' next big project is reportedly the long-rumored Horizon multiplayer game. So it seems like those two were different. Like those rumors we heard were two different games. So we're going to get potentially two different Horizon multiplayer games in the span of like however many years, but wild. That being said, following that, Guerrilla Games studio boss confirms Horizon was always thought about as a multiplayer game. In essence, they were trying to make this a more popular multiplayer game than Killzone, which put them, arguably as what they were best known for. NCSoft wants to bring Horizon Steel Frontiers to PlayStation 5, but it's not something they can decide on their own. Following that, Horizon franchise has reportedly sold over 40 million units worldwide. Insane. Death Stranding Isolations is an anime series heading to Disney Plus in 2027. Shuhei Yoshida says Santa Monica had a new IP canceled after spending $25 million on the project. I wonder if that was the one that the Battlestar Galactica writer was working on. Don't know. Maybe one day we'll find out. NeoWiz is also working on a Souls-like and RPG in addition to Liza P sequel. And I would caution, be careful with that. Don't let that success of Liza P get you too in over your head there. Just stay in your lane, maintain what you can handle. Crystal Dynamics hit by more layoffs as around 30 people lose their jobs. And I don't care if it was 30 or just one person. You've laid off enough people. Stop it. Retrospace is a sci-fi horror game immersive sim fans should keep an eye on. Red Dead Redemption 1 is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch 2, and mobile December 2nd with free upgrade paths. Nintendo has quietly blocked third-party Switch 2 docks that, say the owners. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 campaign is online only with no checkpoints or pausing, and will kick you out if you're idle for too long. Wild, and what a decision by them. Hoyo versus Animal Crossing like Petite Planet has striking similarities to early access VR game Little Planet, alleges the dev. Phil Spencer welcomes the Steam Machine announcement in congratulatory message to Valve, with next-gen Xbox waiting in the wings. Analyst Matt Piscatella says $70 AAA games are selling well for affluent groups, but rising costs push others to free-to-play titles like Fortnite. Concord is now in a playable state thanks to custom fan-made servers. However, Concord Fan Resurrection Project reports worrying legal action as Sony issues the DMCA notices. X-Defiant reportedly began as a new Splinter Cell game by Dispatch devs. Zach, they're just toying with your emotions. They don't want you to have a Splinter Cell game at this point. Rumor, Sony is reportedly pulling back from PC for major single-player games, while live service games will remain day and date. Dispatch looks set to hit 3-year sales target in just 3 months. So wait, you mean they actually projected a reasonable sales target and they're actually going to hit it way beyond? Now, I do worry that they're going to get a little big for their britches, but, good on them. Resident Evil Requiem producer says the game still has some elements from its original multiplayer concept. Following that, Requiem producer says there's no plans for a demo right now. However, a rumor suggests Requiem has at least one DLC in the works. Where Winds Meet pulls in over 2 million players in its first 24 hours of launch. Ubisoft says many new games are struggling as players turn away from traditional releases in favor of subscriptions, live service, and free-to-play games. But yet, it's ironic that the studio that has had terrible game releases in recent memory says that. It's almost like if you don't make good games, people are going to be pushed to go to those other areas of gaming. Asus ramps up production on Xbox ROG Ally X handheld after initial demand exceeds expectations. Silent Hill Townfall reportedly set for a March release. F1 25 getting a paid expansion in 2026 with a new F1 game coming in 2027. Twisted Metal TV show has been renewed for a 3rd season. Wow, good for them. Wasn't impressed by the initial showing in the 1st season, and here we are getting a 3rd season. Ghost of Yotei flashback mechanic was originally going to be more complex, but was ultimately scaled down. Following that, Ghost of Yotei New Game Plus mode confirmed for November 24th. That is just this upcoming Monday. Get excited. Right in time for the Thanksgiving week. Capcom says Dragon's Dogma 2 sales have reached 4 million copies, and loyal fans are calling for a Dark Arisen style expansion. BioShock narrative lead joins CD Projekt Red following recent layoffs and development rework. ArenaNet reveals Guild Wars Reforged, a new refresh of the classic MMORPG. Tales of Berseria Remastered is launching on February 27th. And lastly, Mafia the Old Country gets free ride update this week, adds first-person driving, challenges, classic difficulty, and more.
So, Derek, I didn't even I started seeing Where Winds Meet came out, and I was like, when did this even happen? I was like, I've been looking forward to this game, and it just kind of just
gone with the wind, if you will.
I'm just like, okay, I guess. And apparently it's like an MMO or something like that.
Because you remember the more trailers we saw, the more we confused. We're like, what type of game are they going for? So I don't know. I that initial trailer, which both of us were like, oh man, this is like Ghost of Tsushima. We were sold on this, but if it's an MMO, I don't know if I'm going to check it out, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. Maybe I'll play it some this weekend because I do want to see what it is. Like the traversal just looks really, really cool. So very, very excited for that and can't wait to get on that. One thing that I didn't mention in the Xbox preview or the Xbox partner preview is that they've did their big picture mode, like the play anywhere thing has been announced and everything. So they're definitely getting ready to make everything else an Xbox, but an Xbox. So what a time we live in, everybody. What a time we live in. Well, that is our show tonight. Thank you so much for coming and joining us and listening to all of the video game news that you need to know. We'll be live on Tuesday playing more Ghost of Yotei. We hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week. And if we don't see you, happy Thanksgiving. This has been Zach
and Derek.
Have a blessed week. Bye-bye.